Welcome to the era where artificial intelligence manages systems. Cameras monitor us, even when we sneeze, and airports are more heavily guarded than bank vaults. You're probably thinking, no way someone would steal my checked luggage, right? But I have bad news for you. Buckle up, this is going to hurt. Imagine this. A security camera captured a TSA, Transportation Security Administration, employee. Yes, the very people who are supposed to protect us, rummaging through someone's luggage right at the checkpoint. This isn't fiction. It happened at Miami International Airport in 2015 and became the most compelling evidence that even the good guys can turn to the dark side. And heads up, Miami isn't the only bad apple. CNN conducted an investigation into complaints against the TSA between 2010 and 2014. The result? Over 30,600 complaints about missing valuables, mostly from checked baggage. The total amount of monetary claims was a staggering $2.5 million. And that was a few years ago. Imagine the list of airports with the most thefts now. JFK in New York leads the way, followed by LAX in Los Angeles, Orlando, and of course, Miami again. Despite the presence of TSA surveillance cameras and the ability to file a complaint, there's one nuance that shatters all your assumptions. Airport employees are well aware of all the blind spots of these cameras. One wrong move, and you could become the next victim without even knowing it. But don't worry, don't go away, because now I'm going to tell you how to make sure your luggage arrives safe and sound, without a single sock out of place. Rule number 1, a classic of classics: take valuables in your carry-on. This may seem obvious, but there are still people who put laptops, watches, cash, or even important documents in their checked luggage. This is a gross mistake. It's like leaving your house keys for a thief. Even if your luggage arrives safely, you'll spend the entire flight in paranoia mode. The right move is to have valuables with you under the seat or in the overhead compartment, and only essentials in your checked luggage: clothes, shoes, maybe a book, but nothing that could interest a thief. Rule number 2, lock your luggage wisely. Yes, using a lock seems obvious, but there's a catch. Airport thieves hunt for speed. If there's a lock on the suitcase, they often don't even touch it. But here's the rub. Those very TSA-approved locks with the red diamond, which supposedly allow agents to open your suitcase without breaking anything, can be opened by anyone who has a copy of the master key, and these keys are all over the internet. What to do? If you use a non-TSA-approved lock, they'll break it if they need to inspect your luggage. That's the price of aviation security. So, your choice: protection from thieves or the ability for the TSA to inspect luggage without destroying anything. A seasoned traveler's tip: if you choose a TSA lock, don't put anything valuable inside. And if you do, accept that it can be broken into. Rule number 3, don't put strange things in your checked baggage. Did you know that a simple candle can look like an explosive on a scanner, or that unlabeled protein powder can raise suspicions of drugs? The vigilant eye of the TSA looks for the slightest deviations from the norm. If the X-ray highlights something suspicious, rest assured, your bag will be opened, turned inside out, and thoroughly inspected. We all know what we can't carry: knives, lighters in the form of weapons, baseball bats. But even harmless things can cause alarm. Old speakers with a bunch of wires, perfumes in opaque bottles, jars of cream without labels. And food is just a minefield. Hard cheeses, dense chocolate, vacuum-packed meat. The scanner can mistake them for explosives or plastic. Real case: a guy lost several hours at the airport because of a piece of cheddar cheese. My advice: label everything you can, distribute electronics in different places, and put powders and foods in clear bags with a receipt so that the TSA doesn't suspect anything. But that's not all. Even if the TSA isn't interested in your luggage, there's another danger: those who come after. After passing through security, your luggage enters a zone of lawlessness, into the hands of baggage handlers. This is where airline employees, baggage handlers, transport workers, and even imposters posing as staff come into play. These individuals know every nook and cranny of the baggage handling system and have unfettered access without supervision. Their favorite trick is the pin trick. They stick a sharp object into the zipper, open the suitcase without damaging the lock, pull out what they want, and close it again as if nothing happened. No one notices anything until you discover the loss at home. How to protect yourself: buy a suitcase with zipper protection or made of cut-resistant materials. If you already have a regular suitcase, use plastic seals or zip ties on the ends of the zipper. This won't stop thieves, but it won't allow them to act without leaving a trace. If you see that the seals are broken upon arrival, you'll know something has happened. For an expert level of security, wrap your suitcase in film. Yes, it's inconvenient, but it deters thieves. Another option is to use protective straps around the suitcase. The harder it is to open, the more likely they are to switch to the next victim. And here's the final touch. All your travel preparations can go down the drain if someone simply snatches your suitcase from the baggage carousel. Yes, this happens more often than you think. Thefts in the baggage claim area are commonplace and easy to commit. No one checks whether the person picking up the suitcase is actually its owner. How to protect yourself? First, don't bring flashy suitcases. A bright Jackson or Louis Vuitton screams, "I'm expensive, and I have valuable things inside." If you already have one, wrap it in an old cover or cover it with stickers. This will not only make it less attractive, but also simplify identification. Second, attach tags with your name on the outside and inside of the suitcase. If someone tries to take it, you can instantly prove that it's yours. And most importantly, use an AirTag or GPS tracker. If the suitcase is stolen, you can track it all the way to the thief's house. Real cases won't be long in coming. In 2023, a woman in Florida recovered her suitcase thanks to an AirTag, finding it in the home of a dishonest airport employee. So remember, a suitcase should be modest, with tags and trackable, because the baggage claim area is a minefield, and you don't want to lose your treasures there. So, you're ready to hit the road like a ninja, having foreseen everything: locks, tags, AirTag, and even wrapped your suitcase like it's a gift from the FBI. You're protected from thieves, right? Not so fast. Now we're going to talk about the last line of defense for your luggage, the suitcase itself. The eternal battle, soft versus hard. Everyone has their own opinion. Some swear by soft suitcases, others by hard ones, as if they were tanks. After many years of flying, I'll say it straight. Soft suitcases are kings in the cabin, but only hard ones survive in the luggage compartment. Why? Let's start with the fact that a soft suitcase has a lot of pockets. Perfect if you're carrying documents, a passport, or a book to read on the flight. But in the luggage compartment of an airplane, it's a death trap. The zipper catches on the conveyor belt, instant tear. A weak seam tears from the first jolt, and the thieves rejoice. Soft suitcases are much easier to open in the good old way, with a pen. But hard suitcases, especially those made of polycarbonate or aluminum, are a wall. They withstand impacts, falls, and are more difficult to break into without leaving traces. In the crazy maze of the baggage system, a sturdy suitcase is almost like a mobile safe. Sounds exaggerated? Believe me, it's the pure truth. These conveyor belts are by no means gentle and affectionate. In large airports, mechanical arms hurl suitcases onto trays at full speed. Loaders treat luggage like sacks of potatoes, and carts rush at speeds of over 20 kilometers per hour. An unfortunate angle, a sharp turn, and your suitcase flies off into the unknown. And don't forget that in the airplane, loaders don't mince words. They're in a hurry and throw things from a height of several meters, sometimes even up to 10. If you're carrying something fragile, a soft suitcase is a sure death. A hard suitcase, on the other hand, absorbs shocks and protects the contents. A pro tip: remember the plastic wrap at the airport? Yes, the one that many consider unnecessary? Well, it's not. The film adds an extra layer of protection against thieves and damage. Yes, removing it later is a hassle, but if your suitcase arrives in one piece, it's worth it. And if you can afford to spend a little more, buy a hard suitcase with a built-in lock. The most reliable brands already integrate them into their suitcases. This will not only save you from having to carry separate locks, but also make your luggage much more resistant to burglary. Shocking fact: in the United States alone, more than 2,800,000 suitcases were reported damaged or lost last year. Don't let your luggage add to this sad statistic. Choose a sturdy suitcase or prepare for the worst. And here we come to the main trump card: baggage insurance. Yes, many neglect this, thinking, it definitely won't happen to me. But when it does happen, you'll bitterly regret not spending those few dollars in advance. If you travel frequently, especially with expensive luggage, be it a suitcase from a well-known brand, an ultra-modern laptop, luxurious clothing, a watch, or work equipment, Insurance is simply necessary for you. Because if you lose something valuable without insurance, the airline will offer you, at best, only a formal, "We are very sorry." Do you know how much airlines usually cover? At best, $500. Now, imagine your suitcase is worth $10,000, and there's a $3,000 laptop inside. Would you really let them reimburse you for just a fraction of that amount? I doubt it. What can you do? First of all, check your credit cards. Some, like the American Express Platinum, offer baggage insurance as a perk if you paid for your flight with the card. For example, up to $1,250 per item. Not bad, but certainly not comprehensive. The key move is to get annual travel insurance that includes coverage for lost or damaged luggage. Companies like Travel Guard, Alliance, or World Nomads offer plans with coverage up to $5,000 or more, and often you can add extra protection for specific items like cameras, drones, expensive watches, or musical equipment. You can even insure everything for an entire year without having to worry about buying insurance for every flight. If you travel more than 2 or 3 times a year, it's already worth it. Important tip: take a photo of your suitcase before you fly. Keep receipts for the expensive items you're carrying inside. If something happens, this will be your proof when filing a claim. Without proof, forget about getting any payouts. Now, for the most interesting part, real stories that seem like they're straight out of a movie, because there's no better warning than a real-life case of your luggage being stolen in broad daylight. Case 1, Dallas, Texas. Imagine this. A man finds his suitcase abandoned right on the sidewalk near the airport. No tags, no name, nothing. Someone from the airport staff clearly tried to cover their tracks, tearing off all the identifying marks so that an accomplice could calmly pick up the loot without raising suspicion. Fortunately, the owner didn't panic, immediately reported it to security, and was able to prove it was his suitcase thanks to an AirTag. The moral of this story is simple. A reliable tag and an internal tracker are your best friends. Case 2, Chicago, O'Hare Airport. A man is standing at the baggage carousel, waiting for his suitcase. Suddenly, a stranger grabs his suitcase and brazenly declares, "This is mine." But the owner doesn't let him go, standing his ground and calling the police. The thief got nervous, started mumbling something incoherent, saying there were shirts and pants inside. They open the suitcase, and the owner is relieved to recognize all his belongings. The result, an arrest. What saved him? His name on the suitcase, both outside and inside, and his ability to stand up for his property. Case 3, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. A woman lost her luggage. It's not on the belt. In desperation, she activates her AirTag and finds it in a house. In whose house? An airport employee, coveting someone else's belongings, took it home. Police, arrest, and a happy ending. Without that darn tracker, the suitcase would have been lost forever. Luggage theft at airports is not an isolated incident, but a harsh, everyday reality that exists in 2 forms. The first are the insiders, employees who know all the loopholes in the system, manipulating tags or stealing in hidden corners. The second are imposters, pretending to be passengers and brazenly walking off with other people's suitcases right from the baggage claim. But you are not defenseless. In your arsenal, you have powerful weapons, strong, shock-resistant suitcases, smart locks and seals, durable tags with your contact information, an AirTag or built-in GPS beacon, and finally, insurance that will cover you when everything else fails. Every little thing matters, because your luggage is not just its contents, but also a headache that can be prevented by ensuring its safety. Remember, pack smart, travel cautiously, and never underestimate the power of prevention. In the world of airports, the one who is prepared wins.